Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to our second Netflix versus Cinema anthology series go by go thing, or episode by episode thing. Today we're talking about the Boys Diabolical, because I'm joined by Shaun Harris. Hi, Shaun.
Hi you guys.
Yeah, and Shaun is somebody who raised the point that whenever you have an anthology season or anthology series, it's a bit difficult to sort of give the whole series a star rating, because it's not one long story. Some episodes are better than others. Some you really love, some you won't like. So he was like, no, we need to go through it little by little. And we're like, okay, we don't have space for that on our usual show, Netflix versus Cinema. So we're going to have this slight little offshoot spin-off thing where we're going to do this. So we have done already, by the time you listen to this, I should have put up the one for Love, Death and Robots Season 3. And now we are going to The Boys Diabolical. The spin-off,
yes.
Yeah, the spin-off from Amazon Prime's The Boys. So before we go into this, Shaun, have you been watching The Boys Season 3?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Are you up to date with The Boys Season 3?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes.
So
I am up to date.
So you've watched the Herogasm episode?
The which one?
Herogasm.
I've watched. Yeah. I think it's just this Friday to go, isn't it?
Yeah, possibly. I've watched the first episode, and then I'm going to sort of like just catch up quickly before we review it on the show.
Quickly.
All right.
Yeah.
So for any one of you who knows about The Boys knows that The Boys is this sort of like soup of satire, of celebrity, of superhero, of the superhero genre, of the current state of superheroes, where we get like a movie every other day. There's a lot of stuff going on in The Boys. It's like a multi-layer thing where they're satirizing a whole bunch of different things at the time, and this is where they've decided that away from the main narrative of Billy Butcher and Huey and all those guys, they've given a whole bunch of people free reign to go and come up with an animated series that's based on different things. And each one of these, I think each one of these has a different animation style. There's 8 episodes, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through episode by episode and see what we thought about that and give this our ratings. So, we kick off with episode 1, Laser Baby's Day Out. And
Okay.
And if even the title should put
Do
you in mind
you want me to talk about this one?
Yeah, go ahead, talk about this one.
Yeah. Well, this is like Warner Brothers. This is done in the style of Warner Brothers Looney Tunes, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You know, that
It
sort
is,
of
yes.
style, and it's obviously based on a. There is actually a cartoon called Baby's Day Out, and I think there's a couple of movies called.
There's
Baby's
a movie.
Day Out,
There's a
which
movie
are
called
real
Baby's
life
Day Out.
movies.
Yeah.
So, So this is obviously the program to do with soups, and there's this. Some soups can do it when they're babies, and others can't. So the ones that can't, they sort of have to go. So
Yeah, they get rid of them.
lad obviously decides, or one of the workers, decides that he's gonna. And then if you've seen Baby's Day Out, or you've seen any of the Baby's Day Out, it's much the same as that. But there's some, there's some quite, well, if you imagine Laser Baby's Day Out, then that sort of tells the whole story, doesn't it?
I think if you see the trailer for Diabolical, you know what's going on with this. You've seen clips from this one, because Laser Baby's Day Out. Because the whole idea is they have this corporation called, if you've never seen The Boys, they have a corporation called Vought. And Vought is it is a satire of big corporate America. It's a satire of DC, of Marvel, people who own these superheroes and try and create new superheroes, because the more superheroes they have, the more money they get. And this is them in their lab and how they try and actually create all these superheroes. And Laser Baby is one of the ones that they're trying to create. They're trying to create a Laser Baby. And in this, you have all sorts of things like Laser Baby gets triggered by red balloons, and you have it's gory, and it's kind of like one of those Tex Avery cartoons where things happen, but with this, there's just a lot of gore and there's a lot of blood.
That's true.
There's a lot of
things
death.
getting sliced in half.
Yeah. But that is The Boys. That is it's kind of like The Boys MO.
Yeah.
So with this one, obviously we don't want to give too much of. I mean, these episodes are short. This one's only 14 minutes long. But how many stars would you have given this one, Shaun?
I've given giving this one a 4 because I like the format. I really like the format, and that I really enjoyed this one. So that's a 4 for me.
All right, cool, good stuff. A 4, I would agree with that. I'll give Laser Baby's Day out of 4. I believe that one was written by Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen and his and his pal. I can't remember what the other guy's name is. All right, so now we go on to the next one, which is an animated short where pissed off soups kill their parents, which does exactly what it says on the tin.
Exactly, yeah. And they're sort of soups with not particularly great powers, aren't they? Really, they're like these soups have got some bizarre and strange and different sort of superpowers. So
well, yeah, it's kind of because the whole idea, and this comes all the way back in the comics, is that Vought is trying to create soups, and because they're experimenting on essentially kids, they're experimenting on kids. Not every experiment goes well, so not every experiment gives you a Superman or a Flash. Sometimes the experiment gives you somebody who is a ghost and can't touch anything but still gets hungry, or somebody who has a butt for a face, or somebody who just sort of like, their superpower is that they're the absolute opposite of the Flash, which is that they move very slowly everywhere. And this is about, essentially, as you said, where's pissed off soups? These soups go, this would not have happened to us if our parents didn't agree to let Vought experiment on us. And it's essentially all of them deciding to band together and use their various skills to go and take revenge on their parents. And that's pretty much it.
That is pretty much it, really. That's what it is. That's the story, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even the I'm looking at the episode description, and it says the title says it, and it kind of gives away the ending. So let's just say it's cathartic and messy, and that's about it. I'll give this one a 3 out of 5.
Messy, yeah, 3. Same here. Agree with you. 3 out of 5 on that one.
All right. Okay. Cool. And now episode number 3. I'm your pusher. Now I have a particular soft spot for this episode because I have the Boys comics. And this episode is animated.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
In the exact same...
I mean, this is one of the few things where it's... This is one of the few things where it's actually related more to the Boys than the other 2 previous ones, isn't it?
Yes, this one, because the 2 previous ones don't actually have any characters from the Boys in them. So they're kind of like in the world of the Boys, but nothing to do with the Boys. But this one is... It's kind of like the comics come to life. It's because you have the Huey is drawn the way he looks in the comics, and he's voiced by Simon Pegg, who originally inspired the look of Huey. Billy Butcher is voiced by Jason Isaacs and looks exactly like he does in the comics. So for anybody who read the comics and thought, "Come Urban, what is that accent? He isn't Billy Butcher." This episode is kind of like is a bit cathartic because it looks like it does in the comics, and even the storyline is very much like a storyline in the comics, because the whole idea in the Boys is that they know they're not superpowered. They know that these superheroes are, but they still try and find ways around it, because the superheroes in the Boys, almost to a person, are horrible. They're like the worst kind of obnoxious celebrity you can get with superpowers. And so they know, this guy's going to be on drugs. This guy, if he's on drugs, he's going to have a pusher. And this is about them going clandestinely, going and speaking to a drug pusher to the superheroes to get them to mess up a superhero. And it is, I think, just the spirit of this is just the Boys, because I think when they went to the TV, they changed it. When they went to live action, they changed it a bit. But in the comics, this is just the kind of stuff that they're doing every single time, coming up with all these plans. Right. Like when it starts, you're like, where the heck are they going with this? Why are they going with that? How's that going to go? And then get to the end and you're like, oh, I see what they did there. And yeah, and obviously bloody, gory, guts, all that kind of stuff. I really like this episode. I'll give it a 4.
Okay, I gave this one a 3. I mean, it was all right. Yeah, it was good, but this one gets a 3 for me.
All right, cool. Oh, now number 4. I've forgotten about this episode. Boyd in 3D.
Yeah, that's it. That's the stuff to make them all beautiful. Yeah. Make them Make them lovely. Yeah,
Yes,
we'll have some of that.
yes. So this episode is a bit. Oof. This episode is kind of like it's kind of like social media. What would happen
It
if
is.
Vought
Yeah,
did social media? So the same way you can
it's
put
all about image. Yeah,
yeah, it's all about image. So you have this guy called
all
Boyd
about image.
who is always he's always using like a vote app to try and make himself look like what he really wants to look like, and look like what like the beefcake that he wants to be. Like he's 6 foot tall, he has a square jaw, all that. And one day something pops up on the thing and says, "Oh, would you like to try a new application that essentially gives you the filter but in real life?" And Shaun, what happens?
Well, yeah, but basically he wants to date. He sees this girl that he thinks, or he wants to have wants to have a date with the girl, obviously, and she's using the thing as well. And then eventually it all sort of goes wrong. It's like using cream. It's like a cream. You can use a cream, and like you say, beefs you up, makes your face look nice. You're all happy and lovely, and yeah. So basically, it's all to do with image, really. Like you want to be, and then it keeps you have to use more and more of this stuff, so you're paying more and more money to make yourself. I guess it's like all the moisturizers and stuff that people use today, isn't it? They reckon that the makeup market is absolutely, so it's a bit of a social commentary on that, I think.
It's a social commentary on makeup. It's a social commentary on social media and what would happen, because you know that if people could make the Instagram filters real life, you know that they would, and it's all about what goes through there. So yeah, I thought it was quite good. I think I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, this one I'm going to give a 4 because I quite like this one. I thought this one I quite enjoyed this one.
All right, cool.
Now the next one.
now we get to what I'm going to spoil this and say this is Shaun's least favorite episode of the entire season, and this is the one that is penned by Aquafina, and he voices the main character. So the whole idea is that in The Boys you have this compound called Compound V. That's what they inject into people to get superpowers. And this girl, while trying to impress some people in school, she's a new girl in school, she finds some compound V and she drinks it. She finds some compound V, drinks it, and it has unintended consequences, which obviously she gets powers, but the powers she has, as Shaun said, are poo. The powers she has are poo. Now, Shaun, you didn't like this one. Tell me why.
I hated this one. Oh, it was, I don't know whether it was just trying to be, it was stupid and it was unnecessary, really. There was I didn't see any point to this. It had nothing to do with the boys, really. And I know some of the others didn't, but it was just so annoying. You wouldn't do it. And I generally like Aquafina. I think she's quite good. She's been in a couple of films. She was in that, was she in the Crazy Rich Asian one? Or the
she
one
was in
where
Crazy
the
Rich
mother
Asians, yep.
Yeah. So, but I generally like her. I think she's a good medium, but the voice just really annoyed me in this. It really, really annoyed me, and the whole story really, really annoyed me. And the little thing was just that. I was like, oh my god, no. So this one didn't work for me. So, it's lucky this one only gets a 1 for me, really.
I think I know what I agree with you. I don't see what they were trying to say with it. I think it's almost kind of like they're trying to do what would happen if you had like a small story about the little girl who has no friends but then finds her voice, but in the boys' world. But because it's in the boys, it's extremely puerile, and it's kind of like, and it's not really. I don't feel like it's a satire or anything. It's kind of like it's kind of like it's like Sailor Moon with fart jokes, and I think it is the weakest episode.
Yeah.
I'll probably give this one a 2. So let's go on to Nubian versus Nubian.
Nubian. This is quite an interesting one, This reminded.
Yes.
This was done. Would you say this was done in the style of The Incredibles?
It doesn't look like The Incredibles.
The animation style sort of thing.
No, because The Incredibles
You didn't think it was, no?
Yeah, Incredibles is computer generated. This is hand drawn.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the storyline might have some similarities, but storyline might have some similarities, but the thing is, because the thing is, pretty much every single superhero you find in The Boys is a pastiche or a parody of a superhero that exists, usually in the Marvel or DC world.
Yes.
And in this
And
one,
I know this is digressing a bit, but back to this new series, there's definitely, it's just like, oh man, it's just so obvious what that is. Anyway, let's
it's
get back
about
to
you're talking about Soldier Boy, aren't you?
yeah.
You're talking
Yeah,
about,
definitely.
it's obvious. It's obvious who Soldier Boy is supposed to be a pastiche of. It's kind of like obvious, like the Homelander is obviously Superman. All that kind of it's they don't try
Yeah.
and hide too hard.
Yeah.
And this one,
No.
you obviously have a character who is a pastiche of Black Panther. He's a pastiche, so it's like an African king. It's like Nubian king, and it's you have two superheroes who are like the black superheroes in. And I think that this is where the boys even gets like really satirical. Like they are the black superheroes who are allowed into this whole thing. They are like the way you have Black Panther, and people said that it was so long before Marvel had like a black superhero heading up their own film, and so there's something in that, and the fact that and for me, you know how I complain about how Black Panther was made for Black Americans and not necessarily for Africans because there's hardly an African in the
Africans,
film.
yeah.
So like, there's hardly an African in the film. There's a lot of Black Americans. There's a lot of, but there's hardly an African in the film, and they even have something like that to do with somebody's accent, which sort of shows up. And it's about these two couples who they meet when they're like young and they're crime fighting, and then they get together, and then you fast forward years later, they have a kid, and it looks like they're about to get divorced, and it's all about what their kid does to try and save her family and keep it together. And maybe she realizes maybe it's not worth it. Now, I thought this was quite a funny episode. I thought it was quite a funny episode. I think it was back on a satire high horse. I would give it just about a 4.
Just about a 4. Well, yeah, this one I felt really sorry for the dude who like
hammer fists.
I felt really sorry for him, but I did like that part of it. Yeah. For me, I'm going to give this one a 3. This is going to be a 3 for me. This one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the dude was, yeah.
I couldn't argue with that. Now we have on to number 7, John and Soon Hee. Now the introduction for this says, "Put on your crying face for this one, as an elderly man risks everything to cure his wife's inoperable cancer." So obviously, in a world in which you have Compound V and it can give people superpowers, this man's wife has cancer and he tries to get some Compound V to see whether he can save her with that. Shaun, what did you think?
Yeah. I mean, this was quite good. It was sort of. I know we say Studio Ghibli, but was it that sort of style? Would you say that, or would you say it's slightly different? It was,
yes.
Or it's that sort of story, like how
this. No, yeah, you're right. This is very Studio Ghibli. This is 100% Studio Ghibli.
Very Studio Ghibli, yeah. And I mean, it's amazing what people will actually do for someone if they love someone, and the lengths they would go to. But obviously, there's always a consequence for doing things, sort of consequences come up. But yeah, no, I really like this one. As I say, the animation was really, really good, and it is a story of just basically an old dude trying to, get some help for his wife, really.
Yeah.
So I know you got to go in a minute, haven't you? So I've got this one down as a 4 for me. I got this was quite a strong one, I think. So this one's a 4 for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those. Yeah, when the boys actually goes deep and has pathos in it. Let me put it this way: there's not that many jokes about poo in this one.
No, that's true.
This one is kind of like the nature of human existence. Oh wow, and and now we get into the final episode, which is 1 + 1 = 2. And everybody will know, if they talk to you about the boys, they will eventually talk about the Homelander. The Homelander, who is essentially he's the Superman character in this. The difference with Superman and Homelander is that Homelander is a little bit mental. He's unstable. Like there's no other ways about it. Homelander is unstable. And this episode goes back, is Homelander sort of remembering almost his first mission, and the fact that he might not actually be. Well, essentially, there's the public image of the Homelander that they say, this is what the Homelander does, and then there's what actually goes on behind the scenes. And it is no surprise to say that what goes on behind the scenes with Homelander is usually horrific. And they keep trying to find new ways of upping the last horrific thing that he's done. And Shaun, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was quite good. This was like this is more related to the Boys, isn't it? The actual series. This one's what
this one has characters from the TV series in it.
Yeah, this one's character. No, I quite enjoyed this one. This one was pretty good. It was a good way to end the series, I think. So it's quite strong. So on this one, I'm going to give this one a 4 as well. This one gets a 4 from me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The animation style, this one is, I don't know, it's a little bit anime, it's a little bit Voltron. But
it is a little bit anime, yeah. They have tried to do, I mean when I was saying about the Incredibles with the Nubian, yeah, you're right, it is more the story, man. I was thinking the Nubian, just going back Nubian, the reason I said it was in titles, from the titles, reminds me of the titles, because they're drawn in the shape, like Incredibles with the titles, when they have the and so anyway, forget it. I'm going off on one of my tangents. Crazy tangents. But back to the last one. Yeah, so it finished quite strong. So we had a little dip in the middle, and then the whole series as a whole, we had a little dip in the middle, and then a calamity, and then it sort of picked up again. So it was a bit like that. It was like.
As you might have figured out, when Shaun doesn't like something, he really doesn't like it. But but that was it, and I think all in all, we ended up with an average score of 3.75 from what you said for the Boys Diabolical. A good sort of little curiosity added onto the main TV series. So that is it for that. Thank you so much for listening this far. Do listen to the regular podcast and see as we keep going through every week to pit Netflix as a cinema and see where our money is better spent. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye.